Hey y'all, it's part 2 of our gingerbread house video. So I'm going to let you peer down and I'm going to tell you what I'm doing as I cut the pieces out.
I have my dough that has been refrigerated and I've let it sit out for about 10 minutes. Then I have rolled it onto a pan. Now I use a particular kind of pan. I use one that is very flat. It's hard. Sometimes the bottom of a cookie sheet, when you turn it over, is curved. So I use this particular pan every year. I have 2 of them. I roll the dough out. I use plenty of flour for that. I use this generously long rolling pin. And I just roll it out as flat as I can get it. This particular dough seemed to be a little dry on the edges, but it ended up working just fine. I need to make sure my thickness is the same, as close as I can get it, over the whole pan. Through the years of doing this, probably about, I think about 15 years, I have learned to use my fingernail to kind of gauge the thickness. This is a trial and error. You'll learn this as you go. Don't be frightened to do this project. It is labor intensive, but it's fun and it's very worth it in the end. So what I'm trying to do here is to cover my pan as much as possible. I do use just a cheap generic flour because we don't eat this. And I do want the dough over my whole pan, and you'll see why in a few minutes. Once you have the dough at the thickness that you need it, and remember, don't be afraid to use flour. Flour under it, flour on top. Again, this is a little bit of a trial and error as well. You don't want to dry the dough out, but you do want to be able to lift it off of the pan after it's baked. Years ago, Mr. Patient cut these pieces out. We decided what size we wanted our houses to be, and these wax paper pieces have been cut out and used for years, I guess 15 or so. I lay these pieces on the dough and simply cut them out. So it's like a puzzle. You know, you want to figure out how to get the most pieces out of your dough each time you roll it out. So I turn it and twist it and figure that out. I do leave a little bit of space in between so that they don't, bake together too badly. So I just position the pieces the way I need them on this sheet of dough, and then I'm going to cut them out with a sharp knife. I will bake the pieces on this I will bake the pieces on this pan. I will not lift the pieces after I cut them out. I will bake them directly on this pan. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees and put the pieces in your refrigerator to get colder for about 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes or so has passed, then put your refrigerated pieces in the oven for about 10 minutes. The original recipe called for a little bit less time, but I found that 10 minutes is a good time that works well for us. I appreciate all my helpers in the kitchen. So after 10 minutes, you take it out and just set it to cool. I usually cool it for about, 2 minutes or so, and then I put them on the cooling racks. You don't want to take it off immediately, but you certainly don't want to let it sit there. I've made that mistake of letting it sit there more than 2 or 3 minutes, and it stuck to the pan. So take it off after a couple of minutes and put it on a cookie cooling rack. Then just continue with the same process. I have 2 pans that I use back and forth. Let me say here, you don't want to put your dough on a hot pan, so make sure that your pan has cooled before you put more dough on it. Well, that's really it, folks. I mean, it is labor intensive, but it's not difficult. And this is all that's involved in making the cookie pieces. So we're going to show you what we put underneath the cookie pieces, how we start the houses, and then we're going to make a third and final video of decorating, give you some decorating tips and ideas. So check that video out.
Hey y'all, we're making gingerbread houses.
We're at the stage, y'all, where we glue the forms together. Now this may be a little bit overkill for some of y'all, but you know, we leave these up and on display for quite a while. Ideally, I like to get these pieces made before Halloween, really, because we do a lot of entertaining, and right now we're kind of pushing the time that we wanted to have them done. But that's okay. I've got Mr. Patient here helping. He's awesome. You unmarried ladies need to find yourself a man as good as Mr. Patient. That's all I have to say. So there you go. No, I mean it. And he took off work yesterday to help me, y'all.
Set your goals a little higher.
No, honey. Okay, so can you just tell them what you're doing with the forms for right now?
Well, first thing I do is I cut them out and label them. R for roof. I don't know if you can see that. S for side. And then the ends are obviously, you know what those are based on the shape. So you glue the end to the sides, and then once you've got that done, then you come back and you glue your roofs on. And it doesn't matter about lettering and stuff because you're going to be covering over it with a gingerbread anyway. So see, this is going to be the roof. So see, you're going to be covering over it, so it doesn't really matter. Okay?
Now, I guess some people could do this. First of all, first thing is we use hot glue. This is not, some people are just adamant about using only edible materials, but we're not. Our goal,
good luck.
Our goal is to let it, to have it last longer. So we have a form house, and we do hot glue that. And then we're going to tell you a little bit how we put the pieces on the form, and then it's just decorated however each person wants to do that. Now I got this idea from a friend on Instagram where she used these little tins. I had never done that. So the kids have their tins of candy ready that they've chosen to use. So, so we're all ready. Are you about ready?
Yes,
You're excited, aren't you? Okie doke. Well, we'll come back and show y'all the rest of what we do.
That's hot glue.
Don't burn yourself.
That's hot glue.
Yeah.
Now, you can always go to a store and buy your pieces, and that's just fine if that's what you choose to do. That is really just fine. Oh, that's better than not making a gingerbread house. Look at all the choices that are out there. But just make it your own. Buy more candy. Make it your own. Customize it. Have fun.